Hey, what's up, comic book fans? Welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. And guys, you're with me, Mike Spider Slayer. That's right, guys, bringing you another countdown video. That's right, guys. Each and every week, Mike Spider Slayer brings you a countdown from his worst comic of the week all the way down to number one. And let me just tell you that this week was, man, it was totally freaking ridiculous. It took me forever to read through all these books, and it was a hard decision to pick uh, the top book. Actually, it's easier to pick the top book than it is to pick like that middle tier book. But I didn't have a problem picking the worst book of the week. And so with that being said, let's just get right to it because there's a lot of books to talk about. So here we go. Book to be mentioned about, I didn't give it a rating, was Justice League Dark, issue number 21. Only because I've never read Justice League Dark before, and I picked it up just for the fact being of trying to get familiar with the characters in the book leading into the Trinity War. So I know, like, you got, Swamp Thing and Madam X in here and Deadman, and it looks like she was like killing his son, her son or whatnot. Didn't even know what the story really entailed because it was the last part for this series. But the artwork is solid, and it's something that you're going to need to read for the Trinity War. So no rating just because I didn't read the whole story arc. So now into the actual countdown. Number 18. Oh, some of you guys probably gonna be like, dude, Mike, are you serious? Yes, I am serious. Even though I gave this grade an average rating, which was a 3 out of 5, um, it was a gracious rating because I can see why people may like this book. But for me, I really did not like Batman and Superman. I thought that the artwork doesn't fit a comic book style. It fits a style of more like a dreamsicle or dreaming or the art, which is, good, but not for, I think, for a comic. It's my opinion, and I felt like it deserved to be in like pinup pages or something where you could get signed or not in a particular comic book. And I didn't like it that much, and I also thought the story was a little bit confusing in the same sense. And I have made a decision, and I will not be reading issue number 2 of Batman and Superman. It's not worth my $3.99. So that is why it was my worst pick of the week. Confusing, and just the artwork for me doesn't fit a style for comic books. Number 17. X-Men, the female X-Men team. I thought this book was not bad. I didn't think it was horrible, but the reason why I gave it it was kind of lower down on my list, is it was such this crazy thing going on in here about the X-ladies just basically trying to stop this chick, which her name is Kiara, I think her name is, and that was possessed this specific sentinel that they've been caring for. And it's just like it spent the whole issue basically going, oh, are we going to kill her? Or are we not going to kill her? Is she here? Is she not there? Should we do it? Should we not? So in the end, what happens is the villain escapes, and now they got to go on this mad chase for this particular villain. And then the baby comes along in the adventure as well. Will I still be getting future issues of this book? Yeah, I will. I want to see where it goes, but if the story keeps dragging out, I might eventually drop it. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't like great. I thought there would be some, I don't know what I was expecting out of this. I just thought it would be a little bit better than what it was. It was a little bit drawn out for a particular issue. Kill her or don't kill her? Just what are you making the decision for? Again, it wasn't horrible. It left you with a pretty interesting cliffhanger. So we'll see where it goes from here. But again, I think I'm going to give this one a 2.5 out of 5. It was okay for me. It was okay. The artwork is pretty good, though. Number 16. Injustice, Gods Among Us. As much as I like Injustice, it's starting to get old for me, and I want to see an end game in this instead of being dragged on. And it looks like now we are getting some kind of progression in this story. But in the beginning of this issue, we kind of where we last left off, we see uh, Grundy in here, which was really pretty cool to see him and all of the Arkham villains. And they got to be put back in their cells, and Batman and Superman are against each other. And it was cool in the beginning how you see Grundy just Superman going to town on him using his heat vision, cuts off his arm, and freaking he just sits there and he just like blows a hole right through him. Best part of the whole book right here. That was awesome right there. And then all of a sudden we get Batman who's like, oh, let's put him in lockdown. And the next thing you see is you got Robin just beating on the Riddler, and Dick and Robin just get in this argument, and Dick like falls backwards on a freaking rock and breaks his neck and he dies. It's kind of cheesy, but I was like, okay. And then Batman goes freaking ape shit, and we tell this story from Catwoman about villains and heroes and how villains should be scared because of Superman's reign. And then what happens is it all leads into Batman getting a bunch of cast of characters to join his side to basically take down Batman. And that's really the gist of what happens in this particular issue. Artwork, again, is done by different artists. I like the beginning of the book better than the end of the book. But then you have your cast of characters here that will be joining Batman's team or possibly joining Batman's team in order to stop Superman. So 3 out of 5 for me. It wasn't bad, but I'm starting to get tired of the whole thing. In the beginning it was just interesting. It was real storytelling, and now it just keeps kind of settled down a little bit. Next, number 15. Larfleeze, issue number 1. This book was just weird for me. I'm used to Larfleeze, but I'm used to him just being drawn differently and, not seeing so much of his personality come at you at one time. And that's what kind of got me about the book. I was like overwhelmed by his personality. His artwork in here, the artwork done will have to grow on me. I said this in my review. I did a kind of like an in-depth review on this. It's like a Saturday morning cartoon gone crazy. And the way the story was told, I was like, he's just falling out of his mother's you-know-what, and, he gets enslaved. And it was funny how he tells the story, but it might not all be true. So I feel that the story can grow on you once you get used to the character, and once you get used to this type of style of artwork. So again, I think after looking at it over again, I liked Larfleeze, but I'm still going to give it that average rating until we see more of a story progression in the character instead of just an origin tale. So I'm going to give this one a 3 out of 5. Number 14. Scarlet Spider. In this issue, it's part 2 of 3, Wrath, where Kane set out to go kill Wolverine. And what happened is, well, obviously Wolverine's not dead because you kind of can't kill Wolverine. He gets his heart restarted by Beast. And what happens is they kind of team up against each other and against the Assassin's Guild, which is right here. In the issue, you get to learn a little bit about more Arcely to find out if she's really a mutant or not. And that's pretty cool because you want to learn more about this specific character and where she got her powers and everything. But in the end of it all, you find out that when Wolverine and Kane are trying to get their revenge, we finally meet a new villain called Red Death that comes after her because I guess she's the Grandmaster of the Assassin's Guild or has something above their head. So that'll be interesting to see. The artwork is pretty good in here. Scarlet Spider's been a solid book for the past couple issues. I liked it. I just don't know where they all fit into the whole game plan or whatnot. and it's kind of stupid. Like Wolverine's dead. No, he's not. We know he's not going to die. And 2 pages later, his heart gets started again, and they're teaming up. They're like best buddies, but they agreed to go in their separate ways as soon as this little mission is over. But same thing. I thought this was a good issue. It was an average issue. Nothing spectacular. Nothing that's going to blow you out of the water. But it was good. And same thing. I'm giving this one the 3 out of 5. Number 13. Matt Fraction's Hawkeye. This was an interesting story about the dog and how he visualizes everything. I guess they call him Pizza Dog or Lucky. His name is Lucky. He has a nickname of Pizza Dog because he likes eating pizza. Matt Fraction does a wonderful job in trying to tell a tale of how a dog perceives everything, how he sees everything, what words he understands. And you get a sniff and you get like all these character symbols and where he's going. I really give it up to Fraction about this layouts and the artwork in this actual book, how the dog is going up and just how he sees the tracksuit people as his former masters, how they abused him and how they were attacked. And in the beginning of the issue, you actually see how Pizza Dog maps out the murder of Clint's best friend Gil, I'm sorry. And you see like how he escaped and went down the fire escape. Really interesting stuff. This was something that was totally different, and I was just like, wow. The only thing I got hard to tell at times was like where the issue trying to understand everything that Pizza Dog was actually saying. I mean, you see him, he has cars, you got people sleeping, there's pigeons eating, there's a fire hydrant, there's dogs pissing, and then there's a cat. It's all the stuff that he saw and scented or whatnot. But really interesting, really inventive. I loved it a lot. Of course, it wasn't my favorite story, but it was an interesting book to read. And Hawkeye's book is just great, and David Age's work, I love it on this particular series. So great stuff. I'm giving this one a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Number 13 pick of the week. Some of these books may seem lower, but there's just so many books, and I thought there was others out there that were better. It's just funny. Number 12. Flash. The Deadly Secret of Flash. Artwork in here is always top-notch artwork. Love the paneling in here. Just that and alone describes like an extra grade or rating on my part, because I've always loved the paneling on Flash and this style of artwork. Really great stuff. But it has Barry Allen going after Kid Flash, trying to find out if he's created or done all these murders that's been happening. And, we find out that that's not the case. He's not the one that's behind it, because we all read the past issues already of what's happening. He's just trying to get, down to the story. But we find out that Kid Flash is a real asshole. He's real stubborn, doesn't want anything to do with Barry Allen. And then you get to see the relationship between Iris and her brother, how her brother just got out of jail. I think his name was Daniel, and trying to do right. And Iris wants nothing to do with him because she wants him to forgive his father, and that he doesn't want to do. So we get to see that. And then at the very end of the issue, you get to see Reverse Flash. This was fun. This was a solid read. It took me like 5 minutes to read it, like I was in the Speed Force myself. But it was a great book, and the Flash is a fun read, and I love looking at it visually. So I'm giving this one a 3 out of 5. And that was number 12. Number 11. Wolverine and the X-Men, issue number 32. This was pretty interesting stuff in this book. The artwork was solid in here. We get to see all the team members basically looking after or going after Quentin Quire and searching all over the place for the Hellfire Academy. Wolverine searches all over. In the end of the actual issue, he actually finds, he achieves what he wanted to achieve. But in this book, you get to see Quentin Quire being punished because he doesn't want to give in to the siege, which is this weird type of mirror type of thing here that you can see here that changes all the students when they go in it. But you have to be worthy of it. For some reason, he's not. You also get to see a little origin tale of this character right here, which his name is Philstein or Philstein or whatever it's called. So that was really cool. And the artwork is really nice, like I said. And Toad is kind of revolting against the Academy now, and he has a breakup in this particular issue. And Sabretooth has joins the Academy as well as like a headmaster. So the stuff that's going on in the Hellfire Saga, part 2 of 5, was really a great tale, and I cannot wait to finish reading this and to see where it goes. It has me interested in Wolverine and the X-Men again. And that's what I love about it. I always felt that this series has potential, and this is why. It's right here, is this story arc. So I'm going to give this one a 3.5 out of 5 as well. Number 10. Top 10. All New X-Men, issue number 13. In this particular issue, you get to see... Bam! Right there. Phoenix Force. You're like, shit, dude, what the hell? Phoenix Force already? What's going on? Kind of knew this was going to happen, though, that this was going to be unleashed. And it was all because of this person, right, Lady Mastermind, posing as her father. And we all know the influence that happened as. But in between this whole story, you get the deal with Mystique and Madam Hydra. And you find out why Mystique has all this pile of money and what she wants to do with it. And then you get to see in between there, you know, a lot of dialogue about Alex Summers and his reasoning behind why mutants called mutants and blah, 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 blah. All that stuff was kind of uninteresting for me. The whole part that I found interesting was the very beginning, the very end, and the little part of what Mystique wanted to do with all that money with Madam Hydra. And I always think that the artwork is fantastic in this series. So well drawn, so awesome to look at visually. That's Silver Samurai right there. So great stuff. I really love this book, and except for all this dialogue in the middle that I thought was kind of pointless. So that's why it got short of that 4 grade, and I'm going to give this one a 3.5 out of 5. Number 9, Justice League of America. This book was really good, but a lot of information to take in here. We get to see the conclusion to the Secret Society. You get to see what happens to Catwoman in here, because we found out that she was dead in the last issue. And we get to see a lot of stuff. Dr. Light, Krona, just the Justice League. Are they disassembling? Are they going to get a new team? Just a lot of information going on in this book. I did do an individual review on this if you want to see that. But visually, this book is a phenomenal book to look at. I loved it, and I love Jeff Johns' actual writing in this book for the most part, because he's taken a bunch of characters that we really don't care about and has made them into superstars in their own book, and that's what I loved about it so much. But for me, this book seemed rushed. It could have had another issue, and but of course what's next is the Trinity War. So I'm giving this one, I think I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars as well. Great art, great story, just seemed a little bit rushed in here, so that's why it got 3.5 out of 5, and this was number 9. Number 8, Avengers Arena. This is what you call somewhat of a filler issue for Avengers Arena. However, the story continued. And in this story, it had to deal with Reptile and Hazmat. Now, if you think they're hooking up on here, well, let's just say that Hazmat's in her bathing suit. No, this has nothing to do with the cover. They are not they're not hooking up. It has to do with their relationship on their particular quadrant on the island. Reptile was burned very badly. He had to recover from injury, and Hazmat was basically watching after him. This book is followed, is complemented with great art with the storytelling that Dennis Hopeless has to offer in it. And it was great to see Hazmat basically at her breaking point. She pretty much given up in this particular issue of what Murder World is. You know, she's basically accepted the fact that she's going to die, and she wants to enjoy her last days on the particular island. Hazmat has to do whatever it takes to convince her not to do that. Fight. Be in the fight. Don't give up. And it was a great issue to see. Had some great humor in there. Facial expressions a little rough, but overall the art was solid in here. And in the end of the particular issue, Hazmat is back in the game, and everybody is going to team up who came in this issue to try to stop Arcade and get out of Murder World. Supposedly, there's already been 25 out of 30 days passed. So I don't know what happens after the 30 days. But again, solid issue here. This one gets a 4 out of 5 for me. Number 7. Nova, issue number 5. The conclusion to this particular story arc and the end of Jeff Loeb's and Ed McGuinness's run on this book. Unfortunately, they're leaving. Hopefully, it continues to be a great story. But this concludes the whole, I guess you want to say, origin tale for Sam Alexander and his first, I guess, battle between Titus. Titus was a formidable foe. He's one of his dad's most arch enemies in this particular series. And let's just say when you think that Sam was down, he pulls the old Dragon Ball Z move out of his ass. Check that out. That was pretty cool. Artwork is so stunning, and that's why I'm so sad that Ed McGuinness is leaving this book, because it's such a visual treat, and it's so nice to just look at every panel and every page in this book. Again, the Nullifier, this crazy-ass invention or piece of machinery that supposedly takes over the galaxy or rules the world, yeah, it's used and basically creates this vortex or this black hole, and it sucks Titus alive. And just as that happens, Gamora and Rocket Raccoon make their appearance and say, oh wow, well, hand us over the Nullifier. And he's like, hell no, I don't trust anybody, and I'm going to hand it over to the Watcher. And you see that at the actual end of the issue. And it was nice to see the ending of this origin tale on how his mother gave birth to Sam, on how his mother, spoiler, does know his how his mother does know that he is Nova, and he knows that his dad was Nova as well. And Sam is not going to give up on finding his father, because he feels that his father is alive and is going to go searching for him. Great read, 4 out of 5. Be very interested to see what the next story arc is about, and I'll be very interested to see what the artwork is going to be about, going to happen in starting in issue 6. If you haven't checked out Nova, check it out. Great series, especially issues 1 through 5. Number 6, Age of Ultron, Book 10 AI. I love this book. I thought this book was a 4 out of 5 rating for me. Love the great cover in here. The art is nothing to scream about. This has been said from multiple reviewers on YouTube here in the community, comic book community. However, it does its job. It tells the story well, and it all has to do with Hank Pym and an origin tale about how he was a young boy, how smart he was, how he was accepted in life, how his grandmother was his best friend while he was growing up, the loss of his grandmother. And what happens is, what this story does is it all leads into to the new series that is coming out, which is Avengers AI issue number 1. This is a great story of Hank Pym. Mark Waid actually wrote this book. He does great stories on characters. Really knows how to bring out the best in characters. And I wish he was writing Avengers or AI or whatever the hell it's called. But we're going to get Sam Humphries on the book, and I'll be checking that out. And here's like a little lead in real quick on what that story looks like or how he creates it. And here's a page. This was the epilogue. How he creates like the Doom bot to work for him. And yeah, again, it will be interesting to see. But I will be checking out Avengers AI on sale this week. But I gave this issue a 4 out of 5. Number 5. Top 5. Justice League issue number 21. Shazam's Last Stand. Guys, I just want to tell you, I have never read a Shazam tale at the end of the Justice League books because I never liked Shazam. But since this was a standalone issue and the conclusion to Shazam, said, let me see what it's going to entail. And I want to say that I am sorry I have never read Shazam before in the Justice League book. I love this story. What was so great about it is I did not have a problem understanding what was going on. Black Adam, obviously, he wants Billy's power. He wants to be, I guess, the ultimate Shazam or whatnot. I don't know why, but I loved how Billy was, obviously as a kid, and he just he wasn't willing to give up that power. And I loved how he made all his friends into Shazams instead of giving up his power to Black Adam. And when I saw this page, I'm like, dude, that is so freaking cool. Jeff Johns and the art. Jeff Johns did a really good job with this book, and the art was done by Gary Frank. Oh, it was so nice to look at this book. Oh my God, I loved it. I loved it. And I just loved how Billy made a tiger into an ultimate tiger. And I love this page right here. This is one of his friends that was obviously going against the 7 sins, I think it was. Oh, such a nice story. Tiger becomes like a Shazam tiger, but you know that he can't control his power too well. But he gets to change Black Adam into his original state from like centuries ago, and he just like falls apart. It was just so good, and I'm gonna have to pull out the old Justice League books to read the backstories because I really enjoyed this. And the cool thing is it looks like they're going to be continuing this story, I think, in maybe its own series, I hope, because at the end you get the beginning. And I was like, dude, I'm going to be reading that if that's the case. I really, really love this book. And for someone that's never read it before, I was like, oh, this is great. I'm giving this one a 4 out of 5. 4.5 out of 5. I love this story. Great stuff. Number 4. Oh yeah, Red Lanterns, issue number 21. Written by Charles Soule and Alessandro Venti is the artist. Let me tell you what I didn't like about this book. The artwork was inconsistent for me at times when it came to human facial expressions. When it came to Hal's face and Guy Gardner's face, I felt that there was too much heavies on the ink, made them look really old looking. Didn't like those facial expressions. And we got so many close-ups of Guy's face. Like, what's going on here? There's one. Like this artist loved to do these facial, like real close ones. There's another one. There's another one of Bleeze. And like I get like you're trying to capture the facial expression, which I'm really good at, but I didn't like the facial expression, so it bothered me. Here's another one of Guy. Here's another one of Guy up close. Like, I don't want to see Guy Gardner every 5 seconds. I think there's maybe one more in here. This is a cool page, though. So this was my critique of it. I didn't like the final page of it. But the story was really good. Hal asked Guy to sit there and be like, yo, Guy, I need some intel up in the Red Lanterns because they're going to come attack us when they strengthen the core up. And he's like, I don't know if I really want to do that. I can't believe that you're asking me of doing this. And he says he has to think about it. So when he goes and he thinks about it, excuse me. Sorry, making that crazy noise. He has to go and he has to think about it. And let's just say he goes to Yasmol, he goes back to the planet, and he has to try to fit into these Red Lanterns. And what's also cool about Atrocitus in this issue is that he's willing to sacrifice his core members to gain like their powers and to make their core stronger until the Red Lanterns, the new Red Lantern rings, come back and gain them new members, which is interesting. But Atrocitus is not a fool, and he finds out that he wants. He doesn't believe in God. He feels he's just there for a reason. And what this issue gave me was, it sounds like, okay, Guy's going there, but he's not going there for the core. He's going there for himself and to be the ruler of the Red Lanterns for himself. And that's what I got out of the issue. He lets his power ring deplete to 0%. He kicks the shit out of Atrocitus. And what happens is he gets the power ring, and puts it on himself, which I thought was badass. And he transforms himself into a Red Lantern. That was badass. I like that shit. I like that story. The artwork just didn't do it for me all that much. So that's why I'm giving this one a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Top three. Number 3. Daredevil, issue number 27. The conclusion to this story arc of Bullseye, Ikari, and obviously Daredevil. This issue was very climactic. Had to do with a great battle between Ikari and Bullseye, like a mental actual battle between them. And you get to see what Bullseye is basically reduced to and what has happened to him. He's basically in this metal lung, and there's nothing left of him, and the only sight, or the only sense that he has is sight. And basically what happens is Daredevil is threatening to end that as well. So after some long discussions and debates and things like that, what happens in the issue is that we see Ikari doing this battle against Daredevil and Lady Bullseye. They're all doing battle against each other, and let's say what happens here is Bullseye falls to his, not death, but he loses that one last sense, and that is sight. And Bullseye is reduced to this great warrior of one time, an enemy of Daredevil, into basically nothing. And it was great to see this issue. Mark Waid's writing in this book was phenomenal. This is like the best story arc I've read in Daredevil so far, I feel. And Javier Rodriguez's art in this book is just phenomenal. Paneling is great. I just can't say anything more about Daredevil. It's such a great series. Ikari was just a great character. He's like a Daredevil copy. And if you're not reading Daredevil, it looks like the next issue, if you want to jump on, is the time to read it. But you should read it. It's a great, great story. And that's why it got number 3 this week. Number 2. Bam! Guardians of the Galaxy, issue number 4. This was a funny-ass issue. This was great. This gets a 5 out of 5 for me. I love this issue, and the next issue is getting a 5 out of 5 for me. This issue was so funny. It kind of opens up where almost like the first issue opened up. They're all in a bar celebrating how everything worked out in their favor, and they're partying, and how Groot saved the day, and Groot's partying, and he's like, I am Groot, I am Groot, I am Groot. And they salute to each other, they're having beer, and Peter Quill's sitting there enjoying his time with the ladies. And let's just say Tony Stark's having some good old time with a specific lady, one green lady, and that is Gamora. And she's having a fun time, and the next thing you find out is, bam! It looks like she kicked his ass in bed because, yes, they slept together. Tony Stark in this book is awesome, and I wish that he was like this in the original Iron Man series right now. So after they actually hook up, you see that Gamora gets shot in the back, and you see that right here, and you see that she gets shot in the back, and she has this bounty that's against her. And in the actual issue, you get to see more partying going on, and then you see this battle between the bounty hunter and Gamora, and she has this bounty on her head. Uh, there's a whole riot that breaks loose in the bar, and they're still taking it so lightly. And you get to see like how Peter's still hitting on the chick while everything's going on in the background. You see freaking Rocket Raccoon using his gun, and Groot just in the background just kicking each other people's ass, and he's like, "I'm Groot," and it's just such a great issue. But in the end of it all, before the quick end, we see that Tony is missing Earth. He needs to somehow get back home, and he gets in contact with um, Pepper Potts, and we see his humor is in there as well. I love the humor, so well done in this book, and he says he wants to get back to Earth, and he doesn't know how he's going to get back. But at the end of the issue, Gamora is saved by the bounty hunter, and we can see that they're all talking and having fun in the background, like great old friends, and everything. Every time freaking they all talk, Groot's always like, "I am Groot." It's just a fun issue. It was a great book. It was like so much fun and entertaining, and I loved it. And I love the artwork in here. And it's such a, again, it's a fun. It was a fun read, and I love the characters' personalities. Each one has their own personality, distinctive personality that you can love or you can relate to in one way or another. There's something in here for everybody. You can relate to one character or another, and that's what I love about this book so much. So this is why this got #2, because there was one book that I liked better that it's just so original and so different, and I loved it so much, and that was Snyder's Wake. This book was like scary and creepy as hell, and as it could possibly be. I love this book so much. In the last issue, you get to see that this scientist, this oceanographer, wound up capturing this weird ass freaking creature, and what's it called? And it's like some thing that has these fins, and I don't know, but it looks like this. But we find out that it was captured, and these scientists are here to do studies on it, and we see that the oceanographers are having these weird dreams. We can see in this particular issue, in the beginning, there's just this like weird dreams of people spitting out water. It's like her colleagues and things like that, and we get to learn the evolution of man, how possibly man evolutioned in water, and there was these creatures that were still left over, and they're forced to, do the studies on the particular creature, and it makes this weird noise, and again, we get the origin of this creature, and it goes into like this, and Corn TV said it best, we go into this Nightmare on Elm Street type of world, where there's this one scientist who's in a coma, but here we see that he's obviously dreaming, and he gets up out of bed, and he asks for his wife, Jen, and he sees Jen, and she sees her under this, I guess, waterfall that's not there. And he's like, well, you have to turn on this waterfall. And she's like, okay. And they kind of start doing it. But then, like, here you see that's the creature's mouth. And all of a sudden, the guy sits there and screams, like, ah! Like he's getting killed in his dream. And then the next thing you see is we have our main character, I can't remember her name offhand, and she kind of wakes up, or you think that she wakes up, and sees the tube that's empty that's holding our creature. But I'm not sure if she's awake or not, because right before the dream sequence, we see that she's tired while studying, and she puts eye drops in her ears. So we're not sure if she's dead or not, or if she's dreaming or not. But in the end of it all, we find that there's the moon, it explodes, and it creates this tide. That's a dream, I think. And that was it. This book is way out there. It's great. It's so awesome to read. and you should pick it up. It's only on issue 2. It's so different. Scott Snyder does a wonderful job with it. It's right up his alley, and the artwork fits the book. It's a little sketchy for me, but it fits that eerie and darkness to it. The only thing I would love to see more is maybe a little bit detailed art, because it's so creepy and gory, and I like seeing that stuff. But this is why this got the #1 pick. It's just original, different, something I've never read before, and I loved it. So guys, that is your countdown for the week. These are all the books. Tell me what your best pick of the week was. Tell me your worst pick of the week. Do you agree with my picks? Give me all kinds of your comments below. Sorry for the lengthy video, but it was a lot of stuff, so I hope you enjoyed it. And guys, as always, thank you for watching Comic Book Corner 2.0, and this is Mike Spider Slayer signing off. And guys, thanks for watching. Take care, everyone, and have a great week.